You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your new favorite podcast for everything Bills and Sabres. What's going on, everybody? You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your favorite podcast for all things Bills and Sabres with the pals, Nigel, Tom, and Jake. Episode 8 coming at you. Quick reminder, friends, to go and check out our social medias. You can find us on X as well as Instagram at Let's Go Buff Pod. That's buff with 2 F's. Let's get around the horn here and say hello to the fellas. Tom, how we doing?
Pals, I'm here. I'm running on low. It's been fighting off an illness this week. I'm sponsored by Dayquil today, but I am very happy to be here and round out our week together.
Nice, dude. Torpedo, what's shaking, homie?
I'm chilling. I was off work today. Tomorrow's my birthday. I got good things cooking.
Oh shit, dude. What are you 30, 38 tomorrow?
Yeah, that was last decade. No, I might look it, but
his Buffalo sports fan age is like 52. So
yeah. we're all right on the cusp of being in our graves if we're using that as a measuring stick. Jake, that's not your 30th, right? You turned 31? Or is it your 30th?
No, 30.
Yeah.
No
yeah, man.
way,
Happy birthday, buddy.
Dude.
30 on the 30th.
Broski,
happy birthday.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Now, the running joke every year is that Jake and I have been best friends since we were 10 or 11. And I have, for whatever reason, always think that his birthday is on the day before his birthday. And I'm very glad that I did not, call anybody today. I didn't call. Today is the 29th. Tomorrow is his birthday, and I will be calling then.
Yeah, dude, that's one thing that I like. I consider myself to be a pretty good friend, but dude, birthdays, like I don't know when anyone's are. And it feels terrible because like I love my friends more than anything on the entire planet, dude, but like it's all every year, dude. It's at least 2-3 times I'm like, I can't believe I wasn't like Johnny on the spot with that happy birthday.
It's all good.
Yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
Well, hey, Jake, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy early, buddy. That's awesome.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Way to make it to 30.
There's still 24 hours from
That's true. Yeah. All right, boys. Well, folks, Beer Corner is going to look a little bit funny today. I think Jake is actually the only one with a real beverage. Full disclosure, I moved into a new space to do my podcasting, and there's no fridge, and that's the one fallback so far with being in my studio. I'm a musician, and I have my studio downtown. I don't have a fridge, and I forgot to bring my beers over, and my car is in an awesome shape right now, so I didn't want to drive back, and so I got my water bottle. Tom's on the mend, being a little under the weather, so he has a full cup of Dayquil right there in his coffee mug. So Jake,
it's definitely cider. Just for my mom who's listening, I'm not taking cold mugs worth of Dayquil. It is absolutely warm apple cider.
Sorry, Lisa.
Yeah.
He drinks those before we record.
Right.
Before. Yeah. Not on air. I have integrity. Thank you.
So Jake is going to drink at least 3 beers, especially now that we know it's his birthday. So, Jake, go ahead. What are you drinking, bud?
Absolutely. Well, I got a Trial by Wombat from Thin Man Brewery. Got a nice picture of a wombat on there for a little nightmare fuel. And,
That is actually pretty creepy.
It's an IPA. It's got Galaxy hops. It's tasty. So
I do like Galaxy hops. They had a bunch of beers at IBC when I worked there back in the day. Shout out to the Beer Company, where they used a lot of Galaxy hops. Mosaic hops are my other favorite for beers, I found out.
So to go with the theme, Trial by Wombat, would you rather fight 100 wombat-sized Jakes or 1 Jake-sized wombat?
100 wombat-sized Jakes.
I don't know how big a wombat is, if I'm being honest.
I'm going with the little guys. Give me 100 of the little guys. I'm taking 100 of the little guys. I'm going golfing.
Strength in numbers. I'm going the other one. And wombats are not small, dude. You get 100 of those shits, you're in some trouble, bro.
And it's shaped like me.
Jakes. They're Jakes. The 100 wombat-sized Jakes.
Yeah.
I'm going to mess you up, Tom.
Yeah, no, dude.
Yeah, he's harmless.
Yeah, I don't like the odds on that one. Well, folks, you have one beer to check out to join us on the beer corner this week. We're sorry about that. We'll figure it out. I will figure it out. Tom's
We'll
just
catch
sick.
you up next week. Yeah, we'll
Yes,
catch
we'll
you
all
up.
drink. We'll all drink 2 next week. Alrighty, boys. I think it's probably time we finally. Sorry, we're so late this week, folks. Get around to talking about this Commanders game. So, Jake, let's start with you this week. I think 2 weeks ago it was Tom. Last week it was me. Jake, can you kick us off with what was something you liked from that Commanders game?
I'll say off the rip, Terrell Bernard is looking like the real deal. He stood out to me, had a fumble recovery. I heard this week that so Tremaine Edmonds, great player, not trying to disparage him at all, but during his entire Bills tenure, never recovered a fumble. And here we are with Bernard having one and just looking the part. I think he was defensive player of the week. So that's mine. Just big props to him for fitting into a role where we needed and looking like he can do it well.
Yeah,
absolutely. Shout out TB. He is playing like he's got his head on fire right now.
Yeah, he looks awesome, man. Tom, you want to hit us again, buddy? Hit us with yours.
So I was shout out TB, but shout out this whole defense. Man, did they come to just steal Sam Howell's soul? Just that poor guy. He couldn't walk out of his own house without being assaulted by the Bills defense. Like it was. These guys were here to play, and it was so cool to see that scheme that Sean McDermott had them in obviously worked. They were prepared for whatever they were expecting Sam Howell to do, and they've showed out, right? Sacks everywhere, more sacks than we've seen in forever, and
9, I think.
interceptions.
I believe it was 9.
Yeah, like
you're right. Yeah,
if we get 9 in a three game span, I'm happy.
Yeah, ditto.
So
for sure.
So cool to see them show up and show out, and like, okay, not only do we have Josh Allen and an electric offense, like our defense is here to play too. Like it was great to see.
It is, yeah, man. You guys both make such huge points there because I mean, what was the big knock in general about Tremaine Edmonds? His whole tenure, or one of the big knocks. I mean, Bills Mafia is so savage with that guy, undeservedly, I feel, but he was consistently lacking the splash plays. And TB has 4 in 3 games, something like that.
Splash plays, yeah,
sacks and picks and fumble recoveries, and yeah. I'm gonna kind of go.
Would you like to know the set? Sorry, before we go on to yours,
no,
just real
that's
quick.
Okay, buddy. Let it rip.
On Terrell Bernard. What is your guess on the salary difference between Tremaine Edmonds, $18 million in Chicago, and what Terrell Bernard is getting paid here in Buffalo?
He's 18 in Chicago?
$18 million AAV in Chicago.
I'm gonna say that the difference has to be around $14 million.
$17 million and $100,000. $17,100,000 difference. Yeah.
So what is TB making?
He's still on his rookie deal, right? So he's in his third year, one of the two.
Second, I think.
And he's getting paid $900,000. Yeah.
That is absolutely awesome, dude.
Yeah. Let's go, Brandon Beane.
Yeah, that's great.
I was there's people who was kind of wondering if Brandon Beane had a lot more whiffs on these draft classes, but the more we play, he's clearly there.
Bro, I am absolutely the king of the Brandon Beane apology form crew right now because I was slamming him all off season about the linebacker situation. It was one of the pods I absolutely went off on it. And shove it right up my hoop, Brandon Beane, because TB looks so far at least like the real deal, man. And it's
lots of football to play, but there is absolutely. Yep. I agree.
But I'm sleeping well for a change, which is nice.
Nice. What did you like about the game?
Yeah, dude, my big thing, kind of opposite side from you guys, man. The protection scheme for Josh was, I mean, that for him to not get sacked at all against a defensive line that has 4 first-round picks, including Chase Young, Payne there is legit, like John Allen. That's a sick defensive line, dude. And coming into that game, I think they had 10 sacks coming into week 3.
Yeah.
And so for Aaron Cromer and Ken Dorsey to have a plan that allows no sacks on Josh Allen against that defensive line, I really feel like that deserves some flowers. And real quick, if I can sneak in a bonus, sticking with Josh Allen a little bit, the boy is getting down on the ground, dude, not taking those hits, and I love it.
Yep.
I'm for it, dude.
Yes. Slide, Josh, slide.
Yes, 100%.
Even when he wasn't running, the line did a good job of keeping pressure off him. So I think he should feel great last Monday after the game, right? Like not a lot of bumps and bruises there, hopefully.
There were some plays, man. It had to be right around 5 seconds to throw the ball.
Yeah. Oh, he was swimming in time. He set up lunch. He had a little campfire going. He was comfy back there.
It was awesome, dude. It was just nice. It was nice to see, because I felt like, especially week 1, and the Jets are also a sick defensive line, and maybe they just needed a couple weeks to work shit out. I don't know, but they didn't look like that against the Jets. I would love to, I wish there was a way for me to take what they did against the Commanders and copy and paste it into what they did against the Jets and see what it looks like against the Jets. I think that would be incredibly interesting. But
I'm sure they learned a lot of lessons from that Jets game, and it's good to see. Hopefully, learn from it and applied it.
You'd like to hope so, right?
Yeah.
For our weekly shout out to Joe Marino on Locked On Bills, he kept coming back to timing, right? Timing and playing with your offensive lineman teammates and getting that down was a big deal. And he was concerned about timing and things not quite lining up in week 1 against the Jets. And he's come back and talked quite a bit about how things have looked a lot better against the Raiders and Commanders because of timing.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, dude. I don't know. We got a doozy of an opponent coming up here, but I mean, that Commanders team was 2-0 coming into that game, and Sam Howell had looked really quite good. For the most part. I know in the week prior, he was a little spotty in the first half and then really was hot in the second half. And at no point was he able to get it going against this defense. So I think there's something to be said there. I'm not going to, start the Super Bowl parade after we crush the Commanders, but it's worth, there's some positives to take away there for sure.
Oh yeah, and you got to look like that against a team like that, right?
Exactly. Oh, Tom, I'm so glad you said that, because that's the way the Bills were supposed to look against the Commanders.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. Tom,
if it had played a tight game, that would have been a concern.
For
My last shout out has to go to T-Bass. Tyler Bass so far this year has just looked electric.
Yes,
this
dude.
guy, he hasn't missed anything. He hasn't missed an extra point. He hasn't missed a field goal. Shout out that special teams trio of Reed Ferguson, Sam Martin, and Tyler Bass. They have looked great, and I'm here for it, and I love seeing him succeed and feel successful and be confident. He has some swagger, and his big thing is confidence. So love seeing him build that confidence, and let's keep that rolling, Tyler. Nice work, bud.
I love swaggy kickers, dude. I think it's the coolest thing.
Oh yeah.
But another just to piggyback off that, he was the AFC Special Teams Player of the Month. So that's real nice.
Let's
Jake,
go,
T-Bass. Any other flowers you wanted to toss out there to the boys?
I don't think so. No, it was a great game. I mean, I didn't think the offense looked phenomenal. It's tough to say that when they put up 37 points, but I thought there was some miscues and meat on the bone, if you will.
There absolutely were, dude. It doesn't feel great to, have that game start out the way that it did. It took it was okay, but it took a little bit, right?
It did.
It was a 2-score game until 10 minutes left, I think.
That's the big one. Yeah. And there were exactly like you just said, Jake, there were some drives where penalties. Penalties are the big one I'm finding right now that is killing us early on. When we get those early holding penalties, we don't seem to have a way to come back from that. So it's with this team right now, it feels like if you set yourself behind the chains, on first or second down, I don't love this team's ability right now to come back from that.
Playing into that too, I'd like to see more on first downs, more production there. It seems like that's been struggling where they don't set themselves up for success on second and third down. So.
Yes,
not making it easy.
No, yeah, exactly. I don't know what you do to correct that, but sorry, Notch, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You beat me to the segue there because that's where I was going to go next with it. The first and second down production has been just not good, and then third and long all the time. It's just not a way to win football games. So there's some stuff that has to be done there. For the love of God, dude, I can't watch another second and long draw play up the middle. I'm going to explode. There's so much that I think that Greg Wilson really does so well, but second and long, it's like someone up there has a gun to his head, and it's like second and long, Ken, you know what you have to do or else. And he's
they better watch out because he's got a crazy up there. So I don't know if that's the person, to pull a gun on, but hey, it's probably working, I guess.
Guy's always throwing shit up there and stuff.
It's just him talking to himself. He's like, "You're gonna run a jet sweep, aren't you, you motherfucker?"
he's he's got the gun up to his own head.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
Draw play, Ken. Draw play.
Do it. Oh my god.
Boys, should we move on to the scary
Yeah, we
matchup this
better.
weekend?
Yeah, we
keep it
can.
rolling.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go slightly out of the order for our planning doc here, boys, and I want to jump to some storylines real quick. And I think, unfortunately, we have to talk about some injuries, both positive and negative. But Tom, Bills injuries. What do you know?
Honestly, we're quite clean based on where we are in the season, right? Going into week 4, we only have one player who's slated as out. Jordan Poyer is out for a right knee injury he suffered in the Commanders game. Has not really practiced this week. So it was something I kind of saw coming. I was not surprised when that announcement from Sean McDermott came today, but having Poyer out is not going to be great. And that back line, those back 7 is they're studs and they work well together. So it's going to be a big deal that we have Taylor Rapp on the roster, and this might be the DeMar Hamlin game. We might see DeMar hit the active roster this week.
I feel very confident that will happen. We talked about it for a hot second today, just in the group text. But if there's one player that I feel like and now let me preface this by saying the biggest loss with JP not being in for me is you lose the continuity with communication and just having so many of those secondary guys be together since like 2018. So that matters, especially against this Dolphins team. But Poe has not been the strong safety that he's been in the last couple of years, particularly with his run fills. So I feel okay saying that if there's one guy, like if I have to pick a player to be injured, I'm probably going to pick Jordan Poyer only because of what we know we have behind him in both DeMar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp. Now, Tom, do you think it's a lock that it's Taylor Rapp? You don't think there's a chance that it could be Hamlin?
To start?
Yeah.
I guess I'm not sure. The only reason I would say is that that would be Taylor Rapp is because he's been the one who has been active. However, maybe they want to keep Taylor Rapp. Now I'm just thinking about this now. They want to keep Taylor Rapp in his role that he's been playing and fill DeMar Hamlin in, so that way Taylor's still doing. He's not changing his role to go be a backup strong safety. He's still playing the same role he has been, and DeMar fills in. So I think now that's the way I lean, but I'm not sure. And to be honest, I'm okay with us having some of these younger, more athletic players on the field, especially against the speedy Dolphins offense, because they have speedy receivers, they have speedy backs, they probably have speedy linemen. Like at this rate, it's insane how much juice they got back there in there on that Dolphins team.
Jake, anything you wanna add to that at all?
I'm excited to see how they fare against such a high octane offense. They haven't really played one yet, and Miami, we'll see how they do against the Bills D. I don't think they've played any opponent that has as good of a defense as the Bills. So
I agree with that.
I think it's an early candidate for game of the year. It's going to be
this is the test for both sides. This is going to be a litmus test for both sides.
Yeah, majorly. I think the biggest thing for me, if we just talk about the matchup for a second here, it's gonna be a test in resiliency for me, particularly with the Bills defense, because you can't stop the Miami offense. You just can't. Particularly the Bills can't, because we don't have a single guy on the team that can even remotely keep up with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So it's all good.
For the record, no one does, but yeah.
No one does. Yeah, you're right. But there's going to be a lot of situations where like the communication has to be off the charts, where that's where we lose Poe. You have to make sure you're holding your leverage and all that stuff against the routes. I'm nervous, but I am excited, dude. I think it's going to be a game that, we just have to make sure that defense, you're going to have to keep getting back up after getting punched in the mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to make big plays. They're going to make you look silly. It's short memory. How do you, all right, they're not doing that to me again. Let's get back on the horse here.
Exactly.
And shut them down.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it really, everyone's seeing what the Dolphins offense is doing. I'm not sure it's something we need to really talk about a ton. We're going to see what Sean McDermott has for something like this, because we know the Bills don't have the speed, so it's going to have to be scheme. You're probably not going to get to Tua because he gets the ball out in under 2.5 seconds, like 65% of the time, which is a nightmare in and of itself. So I think, the key is taking away that first read and hopefully getting him to hold on the ball a little bit longer. I don't know, man. There's so much, but it's going to be a doozy, undoubtedly. I'm nervous. I'll say that. But I'm excited too. It should be exciting as hell.
These are two well-crafted rosters and two well-coached teams. So
Yes.
both teams are coming in looking quite good, and it's gonna be a battle. Absolutely, I think we like you said, we got to get two off his first read. That's gonna be some rotating coverages. So meaning for those maybe newer listeners that our Bills defense is going to show one thing before the snap. So what Tua is able to kind of read and get some pre-information on, and then he's going to rotate. He's going to have them rotate to something different. So what is actually happening after the snap and the ball is into his hands, hopefully is looking different than what he's looking at before. So he make him think, make him get off this first read, meaning his first player that he's trying to get the ball to, that the play is schemed to get the ball to, and make him have to then go down the line, because at that point his efficiency goes down, and it makes him think that half second longer that hopefully our D-line can get there and make a difference in this game. Excuse me.
Yep. 100%.
Well
dude.
said. Well said.
Yeah. Thank you for defining some of my terms that I just use, assuming everybody knows what I'm talking about. We are supposed to be a podcast that teaches a little bit. So
yeah, you're good, man.
Should we get some score predictions in real quick, boys? Or anybody else want to say anything?
No, I got one thing I'm gonna tag in with my score prediction. So
all right, I'll go first this time. So real quick, I'm gonna give myself some flowers because when we predicted the Commanders, I was one touchdown off, but I did predict us kicking the absolute shit out of them. I did predict 45,
you did.
And they scored 37. So we were close. I was close. I'm gonna shout myself out on that one. 45-37, I think is my guess for this game. I don't think you're going to see the Dolphins hang up 70 against the Bills, but this is going to be another game where I'm going to pick the Bills to lose. There's something that's just not sitting well with me about it. I don't know. But the last time I predicted us to lose, we absolutely beat the shit out of someone. So hopefully that happens again. I'm going to say 45-37 Dolphins.
Let's go with that, Juju. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to shout out Bills Mafia because right now Tyreek Hill is on record this week saying that playing in Buffalo, playing in OP, playing in Orchard Park is no different than any other game. He's calling you guys out. He's calling us out, saying that we cannot be part of the game. And oh my God, is he wrong? I don't know if he remembers us just bamboozling Skylar Thompson in that playoff game, but I was in that stadium standing next to Nigel, and I feel like I actively just completely just knocked Skylar Thompson off his feet. So Bills Mafia, go get him. I'm going to say Bills win 31-27.
Wow. It just feels low. Anybody see what the over-under is for points on this game?
54.
Holy
54.
Wait.
So I'm over. And I also think it's going to be low because it's a divisional game. These divisional games tend to be lower scoring than we think.
That's a good point, dude.
So that's why I'm going lower.
All right.
Still high, but lower.
Yeah. Jake?
I'm going to go 42-38. I'll go with the Bills. Feeling good about it.
God, I'm such a negative piece of shit, dude. I don't know how I came to be like this.
No, it's good. You're helping us not become just a complete homer podcast.
Yeah,
like we need to have some kind of. So it's good. You have a role to play, bud. You're doing
this.
Well.
This feels like we need someone to be a prick on this podcast. No, dude. I don't know, man. This feels like one of those games where it's going to come down to the end, and we're just gonna. It feels. I'm not going to say it out loud. The universe listens. I'm just going to leave it at my prediction.
Hey, when we were doing record predictions, we called for us to split games with the Dolphins. So I'm still, and I agree with that. I just, for right now, my confidence is high and I'm feeling good and I want to ride with the win. But I could absolutely see this as being a close game that we lose. And that does not mean the season is over. It does not mean that the Dolphins win the Super Bowl. It's week 4. There are 17 games to play. So I'm okay with either way. I would love for us to go out and put on a show and show that we can go toe-to-toe with a crazy offense like this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, fellas. Shall we transition?
Let's do it.
Let's get to the ice a little
bit. Transitioning.
There you go, Tom.
There's that new sound effect we got going.
Yeah. All right. So quick discussion of the Sabres preseason thus far. Jake, do you have a couple takeaways from what you've seen?
I do, yeah. I thought Devin Levi looked phenomenal in the 2 periods that he played.
We'll talk about him.
Yeah, we certainly will. I mean, I thought there was some rebounds he gave up, but he recovered. He was stopping everything that came his way, and just he looked calm doing it. And he's young. He's not used to the NHL schedule, so I just hope he has a good season. But encouraging end of last year and preseason game this year.
Yeah.
We got Tom.
So while we're talking about Devin Levi, first question, I have one, and then I would like us to answer Sir Joe Marino's question, and we're going to shout out Joe, and he should come listen to our pod. First off, my question, what about Devin Levi looked really good? Was he playing against starters, or is this like he looked good against some depth players on other teams? Like, what about him makes you feel good about it?
So for me, dude, there's a trend in the NHL right now where teams typically like big goalies, right? Like 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". I think Vasilevsky, Jake, is like 6'7". The guy's a mountain. Devin Levi is 5'10", I think. So in terms of the landscape of the league right now, he's a smaller goalie. In terms of smaller goalies, Tom, there's a name that you need to know, and that is the name Jonathan Quick. Jonathan Quick was the starting goaltender when the Los Angeles Kings were on their cup runs. They run. What did they win in how many years, Jake? Do you know?
2 and 3 years. I think
2 and 3 years, which is in hockey is something like that. Is pretty unheard of. And Jonathan Quick, the big thing with him was he was very unorthodox in the way that he played the game. He would, when he was out, like looking to stop the puck when it was at the point, meaning at the blue line, controlled by defensemen, he would be like looking underneath guys' legs and stuff like that, which was like just super unorthodox. A guy that has insane lateral movement, so that side to side crease movement, and his ability to track pucks through traffic was also insane. Cool. These are the things that I see in Devin Levi. Jake mentioned another name here that's really important. UC Saros, the Predators goaltender, is another really accomplished small goaltender in the league. But the things that I see from Devin Levi are the things that I thought were so sick from Jonathan Quick. The kid, he gets side to side from post to post in the blink of an eye, dude. His athleticism is off the charts. And the kid's, his angles seem to always be in the right spot. And his tracking of the puck, dude. The kid always seems to find the puck. It's just, and you don't normally see things like that from such a young goalie. So he's just got all the pieces that you want to see a young goaltender have that makes you think he's gonna be sick, dude. I mean, he looked unreal in that preseason game. I was blown away. So, and I know you're going with your next question. Go ahead and ask it, and Jake, we'll have you take this one.
So I would like to read our beloved Joe Marino. Shout out Joe at the Joe Marino, host of Locked On Bills that we all of us subscribe to. Had a question for us, and I thought it'd be fun for us to answer it on the pod. Joe asked, "Why don't goalies play every game or close to every game? It seems like the most they play is around 60 of the 82 games."
Jake?
Yep. So I'll walk back in time a little bit. In the 90s or so, the name Martin Brodeur, he's one of the best goalies to ever play. He did play nearly every game in the regular season and the playoffs, and he was incredible at doing that. Since then, it's tailed off a bit. You're never going to see a goalie playing more than 70 games in a season, ever. Just sports science and looking at how goalies recover from playing is huge that goes into that. It's not so much how they play in the first game that they play and then the second game that they play. It's how they recover after that. It's the third game that they play where things start to go downhill. That's caused the shift. There's, with the way the NHL schedule is built, there's a lot of back-to-back games on one night and then the other. And that is just a lot of wear and tear on a goalie's body. Obviously, every player is getting beat up during the game, but goalies are up and down a lot more. It's tough on the knees, the hips.
Yes, that's the big one.
The focus too. I mean, they're out there 60 minutes and just as concentrated as possible for that time. So, looking at a microcosm of the season, game to game, you want to leave them enough ability to recover between games and have a reliable backup that can be fresh and give your team a chance to win.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Looking at the season, there's been I listened to a podcast called the PDO Cast with Dmitry Filipovich. It's excellent. He dives into numbers a lot, and the numbers show that goalies that play more than 60, 65 games in a season, including the playoffs, their numbers dip after that. And
Really?
so if you're a
Okay.
team with cup aspirations, you're looking to play 20 to 24 games in April and May to win the cup. So if your goalie's starting 60 games during the year and then you ask him to start every other night for 2 months, he's gonna get bombarded and worn down by the end of that. So if you have somebody that can spell him during the season, to give him, instead of him playing 2 games back to back on back to back nights, give him 4 or 5 days to recover in between games. He's going to
Yeah.
be that much better during the games that he's playing. So you have a better chance at winning those games. You have a better chance of your team making the playoffs. And so it's just, you have a backup goalie. It's not a wasted roster spot. You need 2 goalies that can play well in your season.
Cool. So would you want to see Devin Levi playing about 35 to 40 games, getting close to the end of the season?
I think a 50-50 split is where I would love to see for him this year.
That the Levi question is a bit of a tough one this year because this is going to be his first full professional season. So the amount of games that he's going to be playing this year, or at least a part of, maybe not necessarily on the ice, but the amount of teams his team will play is like over double what he's used to. So there's an element there. I think for me, his rookie year. Okay, so there's a predictive part of this, and there's a what I would like to see happen. I would like to see Levi around 40 games personally, just because it's his first year. 40 games would put him a little bit more than what he's done in college and all that stuff. I think that would be a good first season acclimation to the league for him, especially because he looks good.
Yeah.
Predictively, I think he's going to be around 60, 65 because the backup goalies that the Sabres have are just, if the preseason and history is any indication, they're not good.
Question marks.
They're
Okay.
they're mediocre at best. So, if Devin plays 60 to 65 and you can steal, in the other 20 games another 10 wins between with the backup, whoever that ends up being, and we'll talk about that because we're going to do a roster projection. I think that's where it's going to be. I think it's going to be Levi 60, 65, and the backup will take the rest. But that is not what I would like to see, truthfully.
It's evolving too. A lot of teams need more than 2 goalies to have a successful year too. Look at Vegas last year. I mean, the goalie that won them the cup was their third string goalie at the beginning of the year. Guys get injured. Guys. I mean, the goaltending is such a voodoo question mark. Who the hell knows what happens position? Guys get hot for seemingly no reason sometimes. It's just you ride the hot hand and you don't know who that's going to be when the year starts all the time, unless you have a guy like Saros, Vasilevsky, Hellebuck, something like that at the helm. But
yeah, good questions though, Tom. We'll have to make sure we tag Mr. Marino in this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
All righty. So we had one kind of takeaway from the Sabres preseason there. I'll give us one more. Zach Benson, dude, my God, the kid is making a case to make the team. It is intriguing to say the least, particularly because any game that he's played where that Tage Thompson has also played, they've got him on the top line with Tage Thompson, which has me a little bit foaming at the mouth. I mean, Benny looks good, dude. I think the thing that's ultimately going to keep him from making the team is that right now he's like 165 pounds soaking wet. But, dude, his play is going to translate so well to the NHL. If it's not this year, it's going to be next year for Benny.
He's a great puck distributor.
Yes.
That can get the puck to other players that maybe have a bit more of a trigger. And name me someone with a better snapshot and slap shot on the team than Tage Thompson.
Yeah.
That physically excites me.
Yep. That makes me feel things in places for sure.
If he doesn't make the starting roster at the beginning of the year, could he be somebody who's called up partway through the year if there's an injury?
No, only because he's gonna if he doesn't make the Sabres, he's going back to juniors. And you can't call up juniors. Yes. You have to call up from your farm team, which is Rochester.
Okay. Yep. So technical. All right.
It is. All right. So should we dive into this roster projection a little bit, fellas?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Tom, are you our facilitator today?
Yeah, you're a wayward facilitator over here who's going to just kind of slop his way through, but you guys are going to correct me and keep me on course. And so we're going to do a roster projection for the Sabres this year, just like we did the Bills last time. And we did pretty good with the Bills one. So I'm pretty hopeful with my boys here that we could do pretty well here with the Sabres. Um, so Jake gave me some notes here. The maximum roster size for the Sabres and the active regular season is 23, not including injured players. They dress a max of 20 each night, 18 skaters and 2 goalies, and then we have some players in the IR. So we're going to organize ourselves in a couple different ways. We're going to just go through and pick through the whole list of players that are in the training camp and narrow it down to forwards, defensemen, and goaltenders. And then our 2 lovely Sabres aficionados over here are going to try and organize them a little bit into some lines as well.
Yeah.
So let's start with some forwards. And can I cherry pick a little bit?
Yeah,
Please
absolutely,
do.
dude. Yeah, give us everybody that you think that is going to make the team, and we'll go from there.
Here we go. All right, ready? I'm going to go bottom up. We're going to start. Alex Tuck is absolutely making this team.
Alex Tuck is making
Number
the team for
89.
sure.
Number 77, J.J. Baturka will absolutely make this team.
Yes, he will.
Oh, and this one's kind of a, he's a little, I'm not sure. Number 72 will absolutely make this team, Tage Thompson.
Yes, he will, Tom. You're freaking killing it.
I know. Thank you. Let me keep going. Number 53, Jeff Skinner will absolutely make this team.
Yes, he will.
You're crushing it, pal.
Number 37, Casey Middlestat will absolutely make this team. My boy, the Polish rapper, number 28, Zemgus Girgensons will absolutely make.
Oh my God!
Don't ask me to make trivia questions about Zemgus Girgensons; it won't go well. Number 24, Dylan Cousins will absolutely make this team.
Hell yeah, he will.
Number 19, Peyton Krebs will absolutely make this team.
Tom, you're on fire. You're on fire.
And then I'm gonna add one more because I think I'm a believer. I'm a hopeful soul. I think number 9, the rookie Zach Benson, is gonna make the team, and I'm gonna let you guys argue about it.
All righty. So Jake, and before we argue, because I love arguing with you, should we maybe pick the rest of the guys that we think are more of a lock than Benny, and then go from there?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You want to go 1 for 1? You pick the first, I'll go next.
Yeah, sure. What are we at 8 right now for forwards?
Yes, sir.
What do we need to get to?
Let's pick 12 for now, and we can come back to the 13 forward kind of thing.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So Tom stopped at Peyton Krebs. I'm looking for the next one that I'm going to see here. Jack. Not to start the year, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So we'll put Jack Quinn on IR for right now.
Yeah, I think that's a safe move over there.
So the next one then for me, Kyle Okposo will make the team.
Yes, sir, he will. For me, next, I'm going to go Jordan Greenway.
Yep.
A lot of question marks around him, but I think there's no way he is left off the roster.
Correct. Jordan Greenway, yes. Let's see here.
There's one more obvious one to me. I'm not sure how many more beyond that.
Oh, Victor Olofsson.
Yep.
I didn't see. I was looking for him. I didn't see him. Yep. Vic will make the team, assuming he's not traded. But I haven't heard any. I haven't really heard any traction on that recently, so I'm leaning towards it's probably going to be a no.
Agreed. Not since early in the offseason.
That at this point, Jake, puts us at 11 with the 12th that would have been Quinner, but we have to find that 12th forward, bud. So
we do.
Let's tell you what. I'll give you the couple names that I think could contend for that spot, and then we'll talk about it. Yeah?
Yeah, sounds good.
So in that list, I would put Matt Savoy.
Yep.
I would put Itzhak Rosen. And I would put Zach Benson. Oh, and I'd put Yuri Kulik, honestly. So 4 guys there. Shit, is it 5 with Lucas Rusek? Oh, my God.
If you didn't say his name, I was going to bring him up. Yeah, I think all of those guys could make cases.
Okay. So we just listed off 5 guys there. They're going to be gunning for one spot. So let's do this, Jake. Give me your top 2 from that list of 5 that you think are the front runners to get that 12th spot.
I think the conversation starts and maybe stops with Matt Savoy. I think he looked dominant in that prospect tourney. I would love to see him in a preseason game or 2. He's a guy, I think, taking the injury out of it, I would have said he was not a lock, but as close to a lock as you get for a prospect to make the team. I'm still high on him. I think he of that list of 5 players that we said, I think he's the most ready. Um, so I would go with him. Who else jumps out to you? What do you think?
It's Rusek for me, only because he was the one that got called up last year.
Yep.
So it seems to me this team likes him. Now the question is Rusek, because Quinter's a top 6 player. So is Rusek a top 6 player in the NHL? I don't think so. I think he's going to be a great bottom 6 player. So just to explain that a little bit, top six players. Hockey teams have run 4 lines of forwards. The top 6, meaning the top 2 lines, are normally your more skilled guys. And then your bottom 6, your third and fourth line, are typically your guys that are a little more gritty, a little more physical, a little bit more punishing. But in today's NHL, they still have to be able to play. So don't just go around thinking they're not skilled, because they are. Just maybe not as much as the guys in the top 6. So having said that, if you're gonna say Savoy, dude, I got to go Benny, because I don't think Roseanne and Rusek are top 6 players in the NHL. I think they're bottom 6. And the only other one there that you could convince me on is Kulik, that could take that spot. But Kulik is a bigger body. He's not going to play the same type of role that a Victor Olofsson is, which is maybe what they want. Maybe they don't want that. But if you're looking to get the 2 closest guys that will replace Jack Quinn, not Victor Olofsson, sorry. If you're looking for the guys that are going to replace Jack Quinn, your 2 best bets really are probably Matt Savoy and Zach Benson.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, make your prediction. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. What are you going to say, buddy?
No, I don't disagree with you at all. I think Kulik. I want to talk about Kulik for a second. He has an incredible release, incredible shot.
His slap shot one-timer is gross.
Like, I think you mentioned Victor Olofsson. I think he could be a worthy slot in for him. I'm not saying this year, but what I would love to see from him is to go back to the AHL and continue refining his game so that he's not another Victor Olofsson. I want him to have that top 6 upside where he can use his release, but round out his game a little bit more. Because he proved he can score last year. He put up a number of goals in the AHL. Do that again, but complete your game around it. That's what I want to see from him. So I hope he does not make the roster. And that's nothing against him. I think he's an incredible player and will make the team. But I'd like it to be next year.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, dude. If Victor Olofsson gets traded, I'm going to be in on the Yuri Kulik for that replacement. So
I agree. I think before we move on, I think there's a name that we forgot too that will almost assuredly be on the team, whether he's on a line or we slot him into healthy scratch. But that's Tyson Jost.
Oh yeah. You're right. To me, he's the extra forward. But you're right. He will make the team on paper. Absolutely. Yeah. Good point, Torpedo. Well, we have to get let's get one of those younger guys on there then, because we're going to need 13 forwards anyway. So you want to go first with your prediction of those young guys that make the squad, or do you want me to do it first?
I want you to do it. I want you to give it to me. Who do you got?
Based on what I have seen, dude, I am going to go Zach Benson.
Ooh, that's not where I would have gone, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, look what they're doing with him right now. That he's playing with the top guys, and he's playing well with the top guys when they also play in these preseason games. I think maybe he could push, mostly because he's just a little more tenacious than Savoy. So I would go. My prediction would be Benson.
Can I ask you a hypothetical question then? What does that say to Matt Savoy? Teammates in juniors, he's a year older, he's been through camp already. What does it say? Hey, Matt, we're going to send you back to junior, but your buddy who's a year younger is sticking around.
You like to hope that as a professional athlete, he's going to take it and use it as fire. These guys are hockey players. We know there are divas in the NHL. A lot of them can be like the wide receivers of the NFL. He could. There's absolutely a world we could live in where he's really pissy about it, but they're different style players, man. Like, it's not that one is insanely better. It's just, Benson offers things in the corners, in the forechecking game that I don't see Matt Savoy offering. And that to me is the make of, that's your playoff style hockey player. Those guys that are tenacious, gritty in the corners, throwing the body around. I don't see that being Matt Savoy as much, at least. I see it being Zach Benson a lot more.
Fair enough. Should we? So for right now, we'll have him penciled in. Do we leave him off? We have 12 forwards in our selected slot right now. Do you want to come back to forwards in a minute?
Yeah, we can come back to it. Jake, do you want to slot these forwards in lines now, or do you want to just get the defensemen that we think are going to make the team and then slot them in lines later?
Let's slot him in. Let's slot him in lines now, and then move on to defense.
All right,
So who do you got for number one center? Tom, who do you got for number one center?
I have Mr. Where is he? Rasmus Dahlin.
Almost, Tom. Wrong position.
A center for okay. All right, cool. I thought we were going to the okay. We're doing lines now.
Yes, we're doing. Yep. So with the forwards that we just selected, we're going to slot them into where we think they're going to be in their lines.
Well, I have one more try, and his name is Tage. And I'm not going to talk anymore. I think you guys have to keep going.
No. This is how we learn, Tom. So yes, Tage Thompson will more than likely be the top center for this team.
Let's do this. Let's go down the spine. Let's do all the centers.
Cool. So 2, Cuzzy.
Yep.
Do you want to give us the third? Or do you want me to keep going?
No, I'll slot in and say Casey Middlestat. Granato's been on record saying he wants him to stay at center. I don't think he's. I think he's an excellent third line center in the NHL right now. So I'd love to slot him there. And then that fourth line is interesting.
That's a tricky one, dude. That fourth line is tough.
We can come back to the fourth line.
No, maybe it's okay. I can confidently say Zemgus Girgensons is who I would like to see there. So I'll say Zemgus Girgensons.
He's been playing the wing a lot more recently.
He has. Though. It was Krebsy that was centering that line last year, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we should. I just don't like Krebsy down on the fourth line. I think he's too good. So, but you're right. He did do it last year. Just for continuity's sake, we'll stick him back there again. So Peyton Krebs the fourth line center for right now. But I want to go on record saying I don't love it.
So should we? I'll let you pick where we go next. You want to build out the fourth line with Krebs because I think we know who's flanking him.
Yeah, let's do that. So one of the wings will be. Go ahead, Jake. Give us one.
Zemgus Girgensons, like we just said. I think he plays left wing typically.
Yep, and the other one will be Mr. Kyle Ogposo, El Capitan of the team.
Yes, sir. All right, let's move up somewhere. Who do you want to see flanking Tage Thompson on the top line?
Okay, so I think this is going to change a little bit this year, dude. I think you're going to see Jeff Skinner stay with Tage Thompson.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's a good combo.
Man, this is hard,
that right wing.
dude.
That's where Benson sat in preseason.
Yes. I almost want to say, Jake, that if we have one of these young guys make the team, that's where they're going to go. But I won't jump to that gun just yet.
I would agree.
All this to say, I don't think Alex Tuck is going to be the starting right wing this year, or at least top line. I think they're going to move him down and play him with Cousins. Not a punishment or anything. I just think that's where they're feeling, or maybe even the third line with Casey Middlestat.
I like both of those. Yeah, he's
with the guys we have on there right now. I'm going to put Victor Olofsson up there
with Tage Thompson and Jeff Skinner.
Yep,
that's interesting. I don't view him as a top line player.
I don't either. But as I'm looking at the rest of the ones that are here, because I think, and I'm going to even change where you just put Alex Tuck. I think I'm going to put him down with Casey Middlestat.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And as I'm looking at the other names here, Skinner, no. Tuck, no. Greenway, I don't think so. Tyson Jost, no. I think Vic is the guy that just makes the most sense while we're waiting for everybody to be healthy.
Can I slot one in that I'm pretty confident about?
Please.
I think JJ Peterka sticks on Dylan Cousins' wing.
I remain confident in that as well.
I personally, I would rather, and this is just my opinion, but I would rather have Victor Olofsson on the wing with Casey Middlestat and Alex Tuck. I think.
Then who would you slot in the right wing spot with Tage Thompson and Jeff Skinner?
I'm not confident about that one, but I agree with you. If one of these young kids make the team, I'd like to see them in that position.
That's where I think that's where I think that person is going to go, dude. I really mean that.
And that line would be garbage defensively. I mean, you have Tage Thompson and Jeff Skinner, neither known for their two-way play, and a rookie.
If you've got Zach Benson up there, dude, he's just at least he's got the jam to be that pain in the ass two-way guy.
He does.
Oh man, this is freaking hard, dude. Okay, let's do this, Jake. Where are you going to put Jordan Greenway?
I mean, I think he has more to give than what we saw in Buffalo at the end of last year. I think he had a nagging injury. He was adjusting to a new team.
I agree all the way around.
I'm more optimistic about him than I was at the end of last season.
Ditto.
But as far as where you slot him, I'm not sure. I mean, he's a big guy. He's got a good shot, from what I understand. I wouldn't mind him on the left wing of that Casey Middlestat, Alex Tuck line. They're both great puck distributors, especially Middlestat.
We're different on this one because I want to put him up in the line with Dylan Cousins and JJ Peterka and just get a little more size there. DC's not small, but Tucky's huge. And I liked having Tuck on that line. Me personally, I'm going Greenway on that second line right wing.
I feel comfortable with that. Yeah.
All right, let's slot him there for right now. And then that would mean Tyson Jost on our list right now would be on that left wing with Casey Middlestat, which I don't love because I think Tyson Jost will be scratched when one of these young guys makes the team for Jack Quinn.
Yeah, I agree. I would feel comfortable slotting Tyson Jost into the scratches, quote unquote, territory. I mean, if all of these guys are going to play, there's going to be injuries. They're going to rotate guys in, but I think he would be the extra forward for night one.
Okay, so Jake, then I want to go back, dude. I want to go back, and I want us to make a pick for one of these young guys that's going to make the team. Because once we make that pick, that person goes right where Victor Olofsson is, and Vic goes right down to that left wing spot with Casey Middlestat and Tuck.
I feel more confident about that. Let's slot Olofsson down there, and then let's talk about the right wing. So I would have picked Matt Savoy. That would have been my pick for which of the young kids makes the team. I don't think he has much left to prove. I think he could play in the NHL right now. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, this is a good problem to have, right? I mean, when's the last time we had this conversation about young prospects making the team? We're trying to pick between which ones do. So it's a good problem to have. I still think Savoy fits in better than Benson at the moment.
I'm happy to concede that. Just one of those guys. One of those guys is who I want to see up there as opposed to Victor Olofsson, because one of them is making the team until Jack Quinn is healthy, which at this point looks like it could be close to the new year. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, it could be. The Patrick Kane rumors have not.
Oh, that's right.
Subsided. So
let's not cross into territory we're not in yet, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll concede, dude. Let's put Matty Savoy up in that right wing spot with Tage and Jeff. That line is a defensive liability for sure.
100%. Yeah.
But
I mean, it's the style they play.
I like the look of this. I like the look of that. The only one I honestly don't love, dude. I'm so desperate to trade Vic Olofsson. I want it.
It seems like that marriage has kind of come to a head too. And earlier in the offseason, he made comments about expecting to be traded. Not that he wanted to be necessarily, but kind of writing was on the wall for him. So, I don't know what the conversations like that around are like, but I wouldn't be mad about moving on from him.
Fellas, we have to have a little mini board meeting right off the hop here. We got roughly 7 minutes left with what we would normally do. Are we just going to go over today, or are we just going to speed through the rest of it?
A little bit of both, maybe.
A little bit of both. Little column A, little column B.
So So good point. Let's move on to the defense.
Yeah.
Tom, what do you got for us?
Yeah, you seen those?
Rasmus Dahlin.
There it is, Tom.
Yeah, ka-ching. Owen Power. Matthias Samuelsson. And that's all I got. You guys go next.
All right, Jake, you want to just go one for one again?
Matthias Samuelsson, Owen Power, Rasmus Dahlin. Did you say anyone else, Tom?
Nope, those are my three.
All right, Naj, what do you got? You go first.
Give me 2 seconds here. I'm trying to get back. Oh, I just clicked the wrong tab. My God. All right, so Eric Johnson will make this team.
Yes, he will. Connor Clifton's my pick. He will make this team.
And then let me know if I'm going too fast here. Henry Joki Harju. That's not it. It's Yoki Harju, but he will make the team.
I agree.
How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 right there. With the extra D-man probably being who my guess based on this list would be Jacob Bryson or Riley Stillman.
I think this is where we have a conversation. I think both of those guys are candidates. I think Ryan Johnson, he's not somebody that we talked about in the preseason notes, but he's looked excellent.
He has looked sick in the preseason, dude. No way. You think he makes it right off the hop?
I don't know. I mean, from what I've seen, I wouldn't be surprised. I
would be willing to bet my life they're going to get him a year in Rochester first.
Fair enough. I deferred on, or you deferred on right wing. I'll defer on that one. Fair enough. So between Riley Stillman and Jacob Bryson, we could carry 8 too. We can select both.
No, I don't want to. For me personally, dude, and this is kind of a slap in his face because he's been on the team longer. Um, I like Riley Stillman. I think he offers some jam that you don't get with Bryson. He's quick, not super skilled, not super big. For me, as far as if I'm picking a defenseman, I go Riley Stillman over Jacob Bryson personally. I like his style of game more. I think it serves the team better.
I agree with you. Nothing against Jacob Bryson, but I
Nope.
don't think he should be in the lineup this year if everybody's healthy.
Yep. All right. Well, let's get going with slotting those guys into their pairings. Then this could be a little tricky because so far in practices, everything I've seen, we're not seeing Matthias Samuelsson and Dahlin play together anymore.
Yeah.
I still am going to predict that they will. For me, your top D pair is still Dahls and Samuelsson.
I agree with that.
I don't know why you try and fix what isn't broken. Those guys were dominant last year. You get this insane mobility with Rasmus Dahlin and a wall of a stay-at-home defenseman in Samuelsson. I think they complement each other beautifully. I would like to see that pair stay together. We could also live in a world where it's Dahls and maybe it's Clifton. I don't know, man, but I hope it's Samuelsson and Dahls.
Yeah, I agree. Whoever slots in with Dahlin is complimentary, I would say. So
yeah. And okay, Jake, second pairing. This is where it gets really interesting for me.
I think Owen Power's the lock there. He's going to play a ton of minutes and continue improving. Who slots in with him is the question. Whether we put Clifton there. His most common line mate last year was Yoki Harju.
Yes.
I don't know if I love that. I'd love to see someone else there potentially.
I would as well. This is ours, so I guess we'll kind of do a little bit of what we would like to see. That's where I would like to see Clifton.
Yeah, me too. I would love to slot him in there. And then so bottom pairing,
Yoki and EJ.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got to think Erik Johnson gets in there. I wouldn't mind him being a guy that rotates in and out to keep him fresh. I mean, he's old. An older player. I think he's great on the penalty kill. But night one, I think he starts.
I agree.
And you said Yoki Harju, yeah?
Yes. Yep.
So that leaves Stillman as the extra, which I'm not mad about. I thought he looked great when he slotted in last year.
Yeah, dude, I agree.
All right, should we move to the elephant in the room, the goaltender-sized elephant in the room?
Yes, we should. All right, so we got one that's a lock, right? Tom, who's the one that's a lock?
It's the Jedi, Devin Levi.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. Devin Levi is going to be a lock to make this team. That is a non-negotiable. And I don't know who the hell is going to be his backup because UPL just looked like a steaming pile of dog doo-doo in his preseason game.
Looked shaky.
Eric Comrie made multiple breakaway stops, including one on Sidney Crosby and one on Evgeny Malkin last night. So, at this point in time, see, I don't even like saying this, dude, because I truly, to my core, don't think that Eric Comrie is a good goaltender. You want to pick the upside with UPL, but we haven't seen it consistently enough from either of the guys to feel good. Jake, do you lean more of a way than other? Because I could be convinced on either of them. You get more upside with one guy, but more experience and maybe a little bit more consistency with the other. I don't like either of them. Do you lean more one way than the other on this one?
I do. I lean more towards Eric Comrie.
Okay.
I think.
Tell me why.
He's a bit older, so he's 28 right now. So he's not a grizzled veteran by any means, but I think there's still some upside there. I thought he started the year last year poorly, and that led to a lot more of a goalie carousel than anyone wanted. But I think when he came back from injury later in the year, I did think he played relatively well. He played well in Winnipeg before he came over. I think there's more there. If he can stay healthy and consistent, I think there's more to his game than he's shown. So by saying that, I hope UPL stays in the system. I hope they can sneak him through waivers and get him to Rochester where he can start, 40, 50 games down there. And if need be, call him up if injury or if Comrie's playing like dog doo-doo, like you said. So that's the way I lean. That's why I think I don't think he's shown what he can fully be at the NHL yet.
Fair enough. Like I said, dude, I don't love either of them, so I'll concede to whichever way you want to go. I'm okay with going Eric Comrie. If you put a gun to my head right now, that's probably who I would pick, just because UPL dude is, man, he's just so up and down, man. He's got games where he's looked really quite good, and games like the last preseason game he just played where he just looks awful. No two ways about it, dude.
He does, yeah. It's tough too. Like, I don't think any of these guys are bad goaltenders. I think the environment that they play in is stacked against goaltenders with the way Buffalo plays.
Yep,
it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you put Vasilevsky back there, he's given up more goals than he does playing in front of Tampa. There's just no way around.
You make a good point. This year we're getting a lot of Linus Ullmark vibes there, right? Who sucked, quote unquote, in Buffalo, and then goes on to just simply win a Vezina trophy. So, it's tough to say with that stuff, but yeah, I don't know, man. The backup goalie situation is concerning to say the least. But I'm down for Comrie. Let's put Comrie.
All right, let's do it. So that leaves us with one extra spot that we can fill in, either another forward, another defenseman.
All right, I know where I go.
Given the team's history, I think they probably carry 8 defensemen.
Interesting. We went different ways on that one, but this is so fun. Sports are so fucking cool.
It's fun to throw around.
It is.
What direction were you leaning?
I went Rusek.
Rusek. Yeah, I could see that.
What position?
He's a forward. Yep. So Rusek is a guy that played really well for Rochester last year, had a great playoff stint in Rochester, and looked solid when the couple of games he played with Buffalo last year.
I would concede to you on that one. I agree with you. My only hesitation, and I don't say this to disagree with you, is I feel like they want him to have playing time, and so I don't think he's a popcorn, hot dogs in the press box guy. I'd want to see him rotated in, but then who are you sitting?
Yeah, where were you going to go, Jake?
I would have said Bryson maybe makes the team. I don't love it, but Buffalo typically carries 8 defensemen to start the year from the past couple of years. So
you could pull me either way on that one. Tom, which name do you like more? Do you like Lucas Rusek? Do you think that's a cooler name, or do you think Jacob Bryson's a cooler name?
Oh, it's definitely got to be Rusek, but that's literally just by how it feels in my eardrums.
Book it.
All right, congrats, Lucas Rusek. You made the team.
Yeah, you're welcome, buddy.
Cool name, bro. Way to spell Lucas with a K.
This thing will definitely change. So with the Bills roster projection, the Bills are more established in their team and environment. The Sabres are still trying to get a winning formula down, and there's a lot more roster
forged as we speak.
Correct.
Exactly. So this is probably entirely wrong, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, folks, we said a lot of names and we talked about a lot of lines, but we promise we will post our lineup projection or roster projection, to the socials. So we'll get them on Instagram and X. Don't forget to give those a follow at Let's Go Buff Pod with 2 Fs. Is that it, boys? Do we get on out of here?
I think we put a little cap on that. Yeah, that's it. That's a full lid.
Cap us right up, Tom.
All right, guys. Well, hey, folks, thank you so much for listening and spending some time with us. We really do appreciate it. We're a bunch of 3 silly guys who just like to hang out and talk sports, and it's so freaking fun, and we're glad that you're along for the ride. So thank you so much. These are my pals, Jake and Nigel. My name is Tom, and you're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast. We're sending you love wherever you are. Go Bills. Go Sabre. Go Sabres. Let's go Buffalo.